Program Guide
is brought to you by
Just a Smooth Yogurt. Program Guide. Just a Smooth Yogurt comes in various flavors like vanilla, strawberry and banana. Just a Farm Dairy. Always trusted, always delicious.
Today's highlight with
Nice and Lovely Body Lotion.
Please listen to me carefully. You know I love you and I know you better than anyone. I will ask you again. Why did you do it?
I just risked Irene's life and mine. And for what? For nothing.
Well, had you asked me, I would have advised you against it. Any evidence you would have obtained through that theft couldn't be submitted as proof before any court of law.
I want you to bring me any and all cases involving Antonia Guerra, since the explosion at San Pedro and all the way to El Chamuco.
When you see your lover, tell him to be careful. And you should be careful as well.
You bring out the best in me.
New and improved Nice and Lovely Body Lotion. The 24-hour skin moisturizer that's your skin's best friend.
The best in me.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals sitting up here.
What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week?
I say they're shopping. Me, I'd be looking to sell.
At what price?
More. Much, much more.
I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
watching Morning at NTV.
A very good day to everyone who celebrates the Africanness in us and is definitely celebrating that Nigeria is through to the quarterfinals. One of the very few African teams that has definitely brought some sigh of relief to many of us. As the World Cup continues, we make sure that your morning will continue. My name is Brian Mlondo. This is Morning at NTV. Let's get started with the question of the day. Well, help us answer that question on our Facebook page, Morning at NTV, and of course tweet it at Morning at NTV. You can also use the SMS platform, send it to 6565. Mabel is standing by at the NTV studios. Good morning, Mabel.
Brian, very glad you could join us this Thursday morning. I don't know where my mind is, why I'm thinking it's a Monday. Well, it's Thursday, just one more day for the week to end, and we are coming to the end of the month of June. Well, thank you for joining us on air, online. If you're at your office, I do hope you are getting yourself started. If you're home, get up and be productive, as Simon likes to say. We'll continue the show by looking at the headlines. At least 79 people were trafficked out of Uganda between January and May 2014. The Ministry of Tourism to achieve an orchestral recording of the national anthem, and Karamajong woman rescued from men who were forcing her into marriage.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Thank you for joining us. My name is Mabel Kebirunji. At least 79 people were trafficked out of Uganda between January and May 2014. This disturbing statistic was revealed by the Commissioner of Police, Moses Binoga, who coordinates the Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force in the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Now, the Ministry of Internal Affairs is planning to make field visits to inspect working conditions in the countries where Ugandans are exported to provide labor. Solomon Seranja has more.
She secured a job abroad and was hoping to live happily ever after. But, alas, she ended up paying a huge price in Kuwait, where she was taken to work by an external labor recruitment agency in January this year. This youthful Ugandan was assigned to a home to work as a housemaid. But, she says, for 2 months, her bosses mistreated her so much that she was tempted to take her life.
I cannot give you food in case she's going somewhere and you tell her, Madam, I want to communicate to my family. She can start telling you, you monkeys, you ever want to be on phones? What happened to these black people? Then I reached the extent that I'm the one to buy food for myself. Medicine, as you can see, and everything in the other country is expensive. I used all of my salary to care for myself.
Later, she was sent back to the Arab company that had contracted the Ugandan agency that recruited her.
When you reach at that extent, they put you on a line so that people comes, they just look at you. If a guy comes, I'm taking this girl, or if any lady comes, I'm taking this one.
So they parade them?
Yeah, like slaves.
There is a heavy price to pay when you refuse to work as demanded.
There is an Arab man in that office. He came and slapped me. You came here to work. People came for you, refused.
This lady's sad tale is shared by many Ugandans still stuck in different parts of the world, only that they cannot tell it. She's one of the 79 cases of human trafficking the Ministry of Internal Affairs has registered since January 2014. 29 of these Ugandans were taken to Kuwait, 6 to United Arab Emirates, 5 to India, and others to China, Hong Kong, Turkey, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia.
80% of those people who have been taken, they are taken by individuals who deceive them that they have got their personal contacts there. The individuals who are not part of the licensed companies, and they normally contact them through personal contact. Others are contacting them through phones, through other friends, and then they go 2-3 people, they mobilize and they take them.
Government is in talks with these countries to have the Ugandans returned home.
The passports are not withdrawn by the companies which export people from Uganda. The passports are withdrawn by the individuals who are employing Ugandans in those countries. And they are doing this according to their national laws. And then we are also trying to negotiate through Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Labor to negotiate with those countries to stop that practice.
Although a lot of efforts have been directed in eliminating unregistered and non-licensed labor export companies, police is still getting to grips with the manner the traffickers conduct their dirty business.
And companies registered to do other businesses like tour and travel, like forwarding companies, like IT companies. Then in the process of doing their normal duty, they quietly do deal in export of labor. We cannot constitute a crime of trafficking against them without getting the person that they have taken.
Binoga, who was sensitizing members of the Association of External Labor Recruitment Agencies, blamed some of them for abating human trafficking. The association has now set up a desk to hear complaints from those who have been mistreated with a view to take disciplinary measures.
Whether you have been taken and mistreated, whether you have been taken and not paid, there are many cases. But of course, some of them are minor cases. But if it is beyond our control, if it is a criminal nature case, then we hand it to the police.
At least 5,000 Ugandans have been exported abroad for greener pastures. But the Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force estimates that those stranded due to poor treatment are about 200. The law slaps a 5 to 15-year jail sentence on anyone found guilty of promoting or engaging in human trafficking. Solomon Serwanja, NTV.
Could a new tune of the national anthem drive up tourism and encourage you to be more patriotic? Well, that is what the Ministry of Tourism wants to achieve by having an orchestral recording of the anthem with visual interpretations of Uganda's values. Sheila Nduhuchire reports on the $75,000 project.
This is the familiar tune of the national anthem that many Ugandans are used to. And for the last 52 years, we have sung its words in tune or even out of it.
Oh, you got, okay, maybe the voice, eh? We lay our future in their hand.
United, free for free, party together we always are.
Now we could soon start humming the words to a new tune. That is if the Ministry of Tourism goes ahead with its plans.
We really want somebody to produce something visual so that when you sing the national anthem, you can see yourself being part of it.
Minister Mariam Tagamba says plans are underway to breathe some life into the way the national anthem is sung, largely because a lot of people have lost the morale and rhythm of the song.
Most times you sing there, some people either sitting or others, oh Uganda, they are not paying attention to what they are saying.
For that, the ministry is parting with about 187 million shillings to produce what it describes as a visual anthem that Ugandans can identify with.
We are not changing the national anthem, but we are putting the words in action, in a drama.
The minister, however, says the old version will be maintained for official functions. So far on the streets of Kampala, some would prefer to stick to what they know.
This is the common bit that we know. Even if I just hear it anywhere, I respect.
Others believe that rather than change the tune, the national anthem should be translated into a language that is easy to understand.
Let them use some simple English. Some people don't even know what the song is about because of the thy, thou, thee.
Renowned playwright Alex Mukulu thinks differently. He is partnering in this project with American music producer John Gado, who has worked with great names like rapper Jay-Z.
It doesn't energize us. The fact that we begin with the O, we begin with the cry, O Uganda, and we continue through it very sadly.
Mukulu also says the tourism ministry has focused so much on animals and forgotten the power people have in attracting tourists to the country. Once completed, the revamped national anthem will be taught in schools and other institutions as part of encouraging patriotism. By the end of this year, Ugandans could listen to new sounds and new tunes of the Ugandan anthem. Now, whether this is a one-way ticket promoting tourism or enhancing patriotism among Ugandans is only a matter of time. Sheila Nduchire, NTV.
Police in Busia have rescued a young Karamojong woman from a group of about 6 men who had allegedly abducted her to force her into marriage. The men beat her up and undressed her as they dragged her to the house. The group of men fled when the police intervened. We have this report.
Alice Awashi became a center of attraction when 6 young men from Chikaramoja zone in Busia municipality surrounded her, saying they were taking her away to get married. On the way, the 26-year-old was beaten, dragged on the ground and undressed. The men insisted that this is a part of the Karamojong culture when they want to marry a woman. She lost the power to fight under the weight of abuse and humiliation. The police finally intervened and saved her from the men who fled from the scene.
They beat me with the sticks, they just slapped me. So what? There, my road. They got me in the road.
But we are going to investigate and find out exactly what is going on.
The director of OWANET, Rita Achiro, tells NTV that what the men did is a grave abuse of the young woman's rights. Achiro said there have been several campaigns against this practice carried out by especially the Karachuma clan of the Karamojong tribe.
The 1995 Constitution, in Article 33, it clearly says that any culture, any tradition that is detrimentary to women is null and void. And nobody is above the law, nobody is above the Constitution. Therefore, if anybody is doing that, it's wrong.
Achiro asked that the men be arrested and so that they face the law.
Very sad story there. A teacher at Mpoma Royal College in Mukono district is on the run after he allegedly battered a senior 4 student who has since been admitted at Case Hospital in Kampala. Mukono police are now on a manhunt for the teacher. The parents of the 18-year-old are worried he may not have children in future since he was badly injured in the urethra. The incident reportedly happened on Saturday morning at the school. As Sudiria Ruhanga reports, doctors are carrying out more tests to ascertain whether the young man's reproductive system was damaged.
Angry, stunned and worried, Patrick Mukisa's guardians and friends contemplate their next move as they watch their 18-year-old loved one writhe in pain. Patrick Mukisa had his life to the full until last Saturday when his teacher Geoffrey Ntalaka allegedly struck and battered him badly. The teacher was ejecting senior 4 candidates from the dormitory. It's not clear what the teacher reportedly used to hit him, but according to Connie Namazi, the head teacher of Mpoma Royal College, not long after the incident, Mukisa began having difficulty in passing out urine.
So from Mukono, they prescribed some medicine that we gave him that Saturday, but on Sunday when we saw that it wasn't working out, as a school we decided to take him to Mengo Hospital.
According to the headmistress of the school, Ntalaka, who is the main suspect here, was last seen within the school premises on Sunday afternoon, but later disappeared after hearing the news of a report from the hospital that indicated that Mukisa had gotten an injury on his urinary bladder.
On our side, investigations are complete, so it's a calling from any person, any responsible person who comes across that very teacher, that is Ntarake Godfrey, to arrest him and inform the authorities.
Now, doctors at Case Clinic, where the young man is bedridden as he receives treatment, say his lower body part got paralyzed due to the impact of the beating.
We are investigating to see that his urethra can perform, can be able to pass urine properly. Is there any defects in his urethra?
Mukisa's condition could be getting better, but his guardians are scared stiff about his reproductive system. They suspect was severely damaged.
Neeraliikirira kuba batugambye bw'aba yakoseddwa nnyo ayinza obutazaala ng'akuze ebiseera eby'omu maaso.
Can he be able to fertilize? Can he be able to produce? Those are tests that we are running now.
Mukisa, whose father passed away while he was a toddler, declined to speak on camera for fear of his peers. But his guardians say he dreams of pursuing a career in engineering, although that now looks like a mirage, since they are not sure he would return to school to chase the dream.
Musomesa yakoze ekyo wasigala nga akyasomesa era nga tafunye discipline kuva mu government kitegeeza nti ajja kikola ne bwana bavudde mu ssomero eryo ng'agenze mu ssomero eddala era ajja kikola.
Mukono police records show that this is the second case of a teacher assaulting a student in the area since 2012. Similarly, last weekend, a teacher in Namasuba Umia Primary School, a Kampala suburb, also assaulted a pupil who was since discharged from hospital. Back at Mpoma Royal College, the suspension letter of Geoffrey Ntalaka, who hails from Kamuli district, lies on the desk of the headmistress. They may be hoping against hope, but the school administration hopes he returns and faces the law. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV.
You're still watching Morning at NTV this Thursday morning. We now cross over to find out what's making news in the headlines. And I would like to ask Simon if he can actually sing the national anthem, but maybe he's old school. So I imagine that he can. Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes, a very good morning, Mabel. That wonderful morning task of singing the national anthem is certainly not one of the things I am able to do very early in the morning. I am a very wonderful singer, only in my bathroom. However, yes, of course, it's a challenge, but this whole idea of sexing up the national anthem, I think we need to look at it more critically. And I saw an American producer being paraded around as one of those going to spruce it up, and I'm saying, what is this? Did we have to get a British composer to make for us our national anthem? This is the whole thing I've been telling you, like our colleagues, and this producer will come here and start mistreating the local artists with whom he's working. Anyway, we'll be right back with the press review. Well, didn't you see it yesterday in the Daily Monitor? Well, we'll be right back with the entire section of the Morning at NTV's press review with the usual suspects. Good morning. A very good morning once again. We are coming to you live from the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel on this 26th day of June 2014. It's a Thursday morning. We're waking up to the Daily Monitor and the Red Pepper. Simon Kasiati is my name, and I'm joined by my usual colleagues, Joel and Brian. Good morning, Joel and Brian. Good morning. We'll be monitoring your Facebook comments too. Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, because Amama Mbabazi is at the moment the world's most conversational leader on Twitter and Facebook. So. Well, yes, I saw a screenshot of a conversation where the BBC Newsday anchor Alan Kasuja did put a question to him, and one charlatan quickly jumped
Kasuja.
in. Yeah,
that's about English.
Exactly. Kasuja also pronounces his name.
Alan
Kasuja here.
Exactly. So me, I would do what? Joel Senioni.
Senioni.
I hear somebody here calls me Senioni.
Well, he did put a question to the Prime Minister and one charlatan, the usual Twitter and Facebook charlatans and cyber bullies jumps in. I can bet my year's salary if you get a response to this. And right after that, Mambawazi comes online and says, well, where do I find your year's salary? Because quickly he did respond, and indeed it's true.
You need it.
Our Prime Minister, the Rwandan President, the Rwandan Foreign Affairs Minister, all these are the African leaders that are regarded as very conversational on social media. It's in the Daily Monitor this morning on the front page. Well, Amama's, you know, has had Ask the PM for a long time now. When Sarah Kajungo started the president's Twitter account, she put Ask the President, Ask Museveni, which we have never seen. And Sarah Kajungo, I don't know if she's the one who runs the president's account, tweets more on her personal page about presidential matters than on the president's page. So So that tells you that there's possibly a little dividing line between the presidential page and the person of Sarah Kajing. Just like we see the personal wall of Prime Minister Mama Mbabazi being used more to spew out prime ministerial material, meaning that you can hardly cut the line between the individual and the person, of course, as opposed to the at ESCOM Uganda Limited, which is managed by these close circles, really and all these. I mean, we are one of those very
yeah, thank God we don't see ESCOM corporate affairs because of it here. But let me just read to you the statistics here. 95%, that's Mama Mbabazi, Prime Minister. Paul Kagame, Rwandan President, 87%. His Foreign Affairs Minister, one Louise Mushikawabo, 75%.
I follow her on Twitter. And just to relate about ESCOM, you know that ESCOM is wholly and fully owned by the South African government, and you can see the most followed president is Uhuru Kenyatta, followed by President Paul Kagame, and then the third in Africa. Third, remember, Africa has over 50 countries, and the third in Africa is the one and only Jacob Zuma, who's the South African president. So there's a clearly little dividing line between the President Zuma and, of course, ESCOM Holdings, which owns ESCOM Uganda Limited. But anyway, away from that,
there's this too. Court blocks media from IGP tapes case. Apparently, they say this is, one case that's got evidence that's very sensitive. So it's going to be had in camera for those of you that were relishing to have a bit of this.
And well, I want to believe that the court did quite its due diligence with, I mean, yes, there is a freedom of movement. We all know that. But there is a law on trespass. There's freedom of speech, but I will not stand
There's
up
no
here.
freedom after speech.
Yeah, no, I cannot sit here on national TV and slander you or even or engage in libel for that matter. So clearly there is that freedom to access information, to spew out information. But when court in its wisdom does decide that this matter should be heard in camera, I think we as journalists need to, one, believe that the court has done its due diligence and must respect the decision.
Believing is another issue. We can't respect it. Whether or not we believe it is another case altogether.
And there's over 80 tapes that were allegedly.
And I mean, they're all out there. So what exactly is it you're trying to buttress against? Anyway, it's interesting what the list that here says. The one who leaked the tapes will also leak case details.
Joel, there are people who raised you as a child growing up and you walked naked before them and all that. Today you do not walk naked before them simply because they have seen your genitalia while you were a child. So clearly there may have been that point when these tapes leaked to the public. Fair enough. But going forward, I think it is in the best interest of the court and national security that these things are hard. I don't know about that. You always aspire to be like your big brothers, the United States and the UK and all these other places. But you claim that our systems here do the wrong thing. I want to refer you to the same newspaper that you are holding on the page, and let's flip through, going through the international section, and we look at how the police in other parts of the country handle demonstrators. And you tell me whether this
how is that related to?
I'm only saying that we've seen cases.
Because we desire to be like them, but they are almost becoming like us.
No, perhaps
they are worse than us.
Page
as you look for that,
of the Daily Monitor, there is French police holding out on demonstrators. The way they are carrying this demonstrator, I can tell you, is perhaps not any different of the way Ingrid has been carried, or where Kizza Besigye has been carried.
So does it make it right? Touch protesters' breasts.
We have just seen a still picture here. We do not know what happened before and what happened after. But one thing is for sure, the protesters, neither legs nor arms nor any part of the body is on the ground. He is being carried like a sack of potatoes.
So but we also know that the protesters in Europe are more violent than the protesters in Africa.
And many times
are kidding
police actually...
Yes. It's on TV all the time, and every time I look at those places, I'm like, do we know how?
We need to tell people what else is in the papers. Shillings 15 million raised on Facebook for 3-year-old heart patient. This is a lady whose child was given about 2 weeks to live, and she needed 20 million shillings. Good people on Facebook have so far raised 15 million shillings. I love Ugandans,
this is one of the wonderful causes that social media does bring unto us. Yeah. But of course, this is an isolated case. For the most part, social media is used for the usual our rantings of Komanyok and all the other nasty words that are used on Facebook, which I don't want to repeat here.
Yeah, just use them on your account like usually do.
You know, I just realized I know the mother of that child, grew up in the same neighborhood, know the father and mother.
And you have not even contributed to this good cause.
It's a shame. I'm going to contribute.
It is because perhaps he is financially indisposed. I mean, today is only the 26th, and this man wants his salary on the 30th, and by the 2nd of the next month, he is as broke as hell.
He has more months at the end of the salary.
Special Forces Group, that special section of the Uganda People's Defense Forces that does provide guard services to the presidency, other VIPs of that nature, and strategic installations, is denying here in the Daily Monitor that they are not involved in a case of alleged torture of one of their own, Private Peter Ongom,
Odong, who claims that his fingers were squashed by a pair of pliers, and other body parts that you may only wish to get yourself a copy of the newspapers to read what exactly was crushed from him, allegedly.
Now, as people are excited about the World Cup, there seems to be picking of bones here and there. StarTimes viewers to miss World Cup matches. Now, UBC has got the sole rights to air this, and apparently StarTimes was having its own kind of thing, but UCC is blocking them, saying, look, UBC has got the rights to this thing. Was
StarTimes doing it without the knowledge and the cahooting of UBC? I think that is the million-dollar question.
It matters not, because ultimately, UBC should be the one to air this solely. So if
it does matter.
Some kind of franchise.
Remember, StarTimes is a bouquet provider.
Illegal. That's the point.
Yeah, StarTimes is a bouquet provider, just like DSTV is. Did UBC not know that that bouquet provider was going to somehow sneak in their matches on their own channel called UBC?
Yeah, but what difference does it make if, you know, I rent out a space to you and...
if you've been following court proceedings of certain commercial issues going on between that broadcaster and other sections, I'm telling you, anything fraudulent, you would never want to put your arm between you, fraud, and UBC.
Well, Jacob Olanya, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, saying, I prefer a smaller but efficient parliament. This is in the red paper. Is this too late for him to say this?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. This is a debate that should be on. We have a big parliament, 375 plus members of parliament. You don't see the efficaciousness of these guys' presence in the House, many of them. There are some good legislators who do an awesome job, but then there are others you never know about, and they're not even known back where they come from, so you're thinking...
But you're the same people who keep telling the president to keep decentralizing day by day, because you want your leaders closer, you want services closer, and then you complain later that the parliament is huge.
You know, the other day, I think it was one of the many addresses the president has given in the recent past. He said, look, we are going to increase the number of constituency so that we increase service delivery. I said, Your Excellency, I don't know how that works exactly. You know that the more constituencies, the closer service delivery gets to people.
When I look at
just did not make sense.
When I look at the picture of the day in the Daily Monitor, where you have got one border that is carrying on it not less than 3 goats and a sheep, and then it's carrying a sack of charcoal.
But you know, a lot of soup.
I know there's about 3 sheep on it. There's jacket, there's other luggage. I mean, these are things that will not fit on an ordinary pickup truck, but here they are on one border. If one border can carry this in this country, why wouldn't our parliament have 4,000 MPs? I mean, clearly it is an overloaded.
Some of our MPs are like, some are like the passenger, some are like the sheep, some are like the sack of charcoal. I'm just trying to interpret what you say.
Whichever way you want to interpret it, I wouldn't put it past you that you would interpret it wrongly. But of course, what do we have in the red paper, Brian?
Well, the LC5 boss in Kabarole is hit back at government and is saying that the EBI, how do you say it in? EBI2.
Well, that's EBI2. That's my mother's language.
Yeah, EBI2 should be returned, and that the president and other officials should stop using abusive language towards the king.
I agree.
What will he do?
I agree. What will he do? He doesn't have to be able to do anything. You know, Mr. Decorum, you should know this, that you know, he should exude a certain...
do we realize that the LC5 chairperson is a politician, and therefore, if I were a politician in Toro at this particular time, for me to remain politically relevant and also position myself for the next elective position, just like they are, anyway, I don't want to mention that.
But
I would be riding high on this.
You want that such language to be used when it comes to addressing you?
Man, if I was a king,
wait a minute. If I were a king,
would all be being banned at the stake.
And Joel Senyonyi feeds me. Brian Mulondo pays for my upkeep and all that. And the two of you came and started calling me names. Believe you me, I would have a little locus standing to speak against you, because I'm just a titular. I'm beginning
to imagine how you treat your maid at home.
A titular
just because you pay her. But anyhow, let me read to you the quote of the day by Speaker Rebecca Kadaga on pigs smuggled into Parliament. She says, if we had that system in place, the 3D cameras would have detected those pigs long before they reached the steps.
Gosh.
This camera system was meant to cost us how much, I remember?
25 billion.
25 billion. I thought I had the wrong figure, but
there you have it. Where did they pass?
Where did they pass?
But
where
anyway,
there were no 3D
cameras or not? Like yesterday,
no, I think the Honorable Rebecca Kadaga is very right. Perhaps what I need to advise is that they don't even need 3D. Perhaps they need to have ultrasound and X-ray powered camera, so that they are able even to detect what is in someone's brain as they think on what.
And 5D.
That will also help us to understand when we are looking through the scans of even people passing through what they are thinking. if at all they are thinking.
Because you know, with 5G, if you're watching a movie and it rains there, it rains on you. Depending on how it's been put together, if somebody is eating fish, you smell it.
You smell the fish.
So if they have that, probably they would have, you know, smelled like, the.
Now, what I don't understand is this whole issue of the whole pigs issue blowing out.
Do you think we have given too much attention to it? A lot of airplay.
I have told you. We would give no hoot whatsoever of any serious bill being debated on the floor of Parliament when actually they debate, because I mean they had the debate anything.
Yesterday but when they debated something very important.
What do they debate?
They passed the 1% on account, so
the
on audit.
On what?
Well, 1% of the budget is going for audit function, and they passed it.
Oh.
So the Auditor General will be getting 150 billion shillings whether he passes the budget or not.
Oh, that's very tremendous. Now, Brian, you realize that you're one of the few that pays attention to those very serious issues in Parliament. But tell you what, even the smallest, even the most naive person in this country already knows that pigs showed up at Parliament and they will be auctioned on Monday if they are still alive.
Well, anyhow, somebody writes an open letter to Bukenya. You know, Professor Bukenya has been coming out and saying, look, I'm going to unite with the opposition so that we pull this off. And somebody here says this has been long overdue. It's good you're doing it. I don't know. Some people think this guy is going to get his fingers burned. You seem to be one of those, but let's give him a chance and see what he can deliver.
No, you see, you get your fingers burned if you have fingers at all.
Mukam. Oh my God.
He does not have political fingers, you mean? I thought he's now your friend. You guys made up. We're expecting,
he follows me on Twitter. I follow him back, and I've not heard anything from him. My Car Magazine, in this section of, in this edition of the Daily Monitor, we're looking at footballers' rides after the World Cup, and we see that those guys who you see chasing one little rubber ball are guys who roll really hard when they are off the pitch. They drive the world's most exquisite and expensive cars, and of course they are paid one of the highest remunerations for a job.
The story of Ghana, there's a story that Ghana had to fly $3 million to Brazil in cash because the players refused the money to be wired. So you see guys who are carrying loads of money with them.
Probably they've been, you know, once bitten, twice shy.
No, and then you can also see their great performance commensurate to that amount of money. Ghana, wonderful performer. Ivory Coast, tremendously performing very well. Nigeria, they're doing extremely very well. And Nigeria is through to the next round.
Yes, it is.
Oh, the soccer is not beginning. You see, I want all these other non-performers to first get. Then we can now proceed and watch football, football.
Also, all along you've been waiting to start watching World Cup.
World Cup.
The other was just, you know, some...
I mean, Ivory Coast, England, Spain, this other one, Ghana and all that. I'll tell you why I don't support African teams for the most part for the World Cup.
Because you're not patriotic?
The last World Cup in South Africa. Brian and Joel, I will not be here to tell this story. I survived this close of dying of a heart attack, thanks to Asamoah Gyan. This is a guy, we're doing very well. Then, for the life of him, he misses a penalty. Now,
yeah, but that happens.
Football.
You
that's
know?
how it happens.
That's why I said, now, you know what? I would rather, you know, play football that is safe. Support a team which I know is going to win. That's why I put my money on the German team.
Hey.
When you hear that German has gone out, just come and help me with the heart attack.
Yesterday we talked about the Chinese story of Ankasate. Obviously, his feelings were known, but Total comes up with maybe something to canvass you. Ugandans take up top oil jobs.
I hope that happens. I've seen a number of Ugandans going to do courses, masters in oil production.
At least we know that Talo, for example, is headed by a Ugandan. Jimmy is a Ugandan guy. We know
like our friends at
we know that the head of human resource at Talo, the guy you hosted here sometime back, Abdul Chibuka, is Ugandan. We know that their corporate affairs manager, Conrad Nkutu, is Ugandan. Can we have the exact same thing, say, for example, at Sino? Not in the next 100 years. I can tell you, and the government needs to be awake to some of these nationality companies which come here only to siphon and siphon and siphon.
Now,
I said it.
In golden hands here, Minister Todwong.
Oh, by the way, I did invite, Sinok did raise issue over the press review yesterday, and we invited them to come here, but I think they're still waiting for clearance from Beijing. We wait.
Okay. Interesting. Minister Todwong spells out what makes NRM government tick.
Oh, please, spare the viewers.
What's the meaning of the word tick?
Let's go to the horoscope section of these newspapers this morning. Well, we're looking at Heart to Heart magazine this morning in the Daily Monitor. And the top feature is about, yes, you know him, Pastor Simeon Kayua. He talks about his 1-month courtship with his dear wife now and the fact that their bedroom is open to everybody. It's here in Heart to Heart. I even need to pay Simeon Kaiwa's bedroom
a visit and do the press review there.
I know many a person will want to say, okay, it worked for these guys 1 month, but it's not a one shoe fits or one size
I know,
fits
I mean,
all.
all your life, how many years now?
but also, I think the question now, and this has been, I've had lots of discussions about the limitations that your kids have. Should they access the bedroom?
Just made 1 year yesterday.
Yeah, well, do they just have to knock first? When we were growing up, you had to knock first.
Of course.
Now you talk to a person and they're like, just open.
Really?
Yeah, so when Simeon says his bedroom is open.
But it works for them. It works for them. Doesn't have to work for everybody else. There's somebody I've seen here who says, my job is the best in the world.
What
this
job
should
is
be Stanbic CEO. His job is I have the best job in the world.
If you're managing a portfolio of that huge amount of money, why not? Your job would certainly be the best in the world. But let's try to find out what else is trending on the international scene when we join a good old friend, Mabel, standing by at the NTV studios. Mabel, has that wonderful lady, once arrested, charged and convicted for denouncing her religion, released and rearrested, been set free?
Thank you very much, Simon. Now, it's a really sad story. They are actually saying that that lady has had fake papers, and the story is here. Apparently she faked papers. She had papers from South Sudan and was trying to exit through Khartoum to go to the United States, where her husband is a citizen, and this is her lawyer saying they are very, very concerned. Obviously, we know the American embassy is working as hard as they can to make sure she leaves the country. It seems it's just one thing after the other. At least they revealed where she was being kept. Yesterday, her place was unknown. Now, also on BBC, we just have to talk about this gentleman as well. Luis Suarez, the Uruguayan captain, actually dismisses the bite claims, and he says it was actually nothing. And I guess we'll be talking a bit more about this on sport later on with Isma Dakabachigongo. Now, unfortunately, there was a bomb blast in Abuja which has killed 21 people and injured about 52 people. No one yet has claimed responsibility, but the pictures are just quite sad here. This bomb was planted in a busy shopping district, and it's just sad what is happening in Nigeria. And on CNN, we have the Syrian radicals brainwashing kidnapped Kurdish school children. The issue continues in Iraq, and we are wondering what will happen there. Also, we find that in the US still, we talked about this gentleman last week giving out money and offering hundreds of people free food. This Chinese tycoon did just that. There's a picture of him actually giving out money. It's a red note. I'm not sure. It looks like Chinese one, but since it's in the US, probably it's maybe, I don't know what dollar bill it is. And he really wants people to know that Chinese do not only spend on luxuries, but also have a heart. There's a picture of him here singing, and he was singing "We Are the World," the 1985 hit that was produced for Ethiopia and the famine there. D-Day for Suarez as the president backs the bite star. Teammates are talking of media vendettas. Pundits are calling for a lengthy ban, but the world eagerly awaits FIFA's decision. And it's a bit unfortunate. I had someone on TV say yesterday that we are focusing more on Suarez as opposed to the game, probably the Italy game, the Italians, how they played, and other games that have been played, but we are just focusing on this. And yet he's actually a talented guy, but what he does off the pitch is really is just out of this world. Iraq insurgents seize oil fields, hit airbase as U.S. advisors arrive. Now, yesterday we saw them take control of the largest oil reserve in Iraq that supplies a third of oil to Iraq, and now they're continuing to take over more oil fields, and this is quite sad, and we do hope that the Iraqi minister will find a solution to this. The Prime Minister, Nouri al-Malik, he is fighting for his job and is under international pressure to create a more inclusive government. We wonder what will happen there. Now, again with the World Cup, the US has seen the most figures of individuals watching the football. On Wednesday, it was actually reported, over the weekend, sorry, Portugal and the United States game was the most viewed soccer match ever in the US. They will be playing today, and we shall be watching those figures closely to see what is happening there in the US. And also, I can't end without talking about Nigeria, Argentina. Nigeria did lose yesterday, but they still qualify because Iran failed to beat Bosnia-Herzegovina. Well, we do hope for all the best for Ghana and Algeria as they will be in action later on this evening. We will now be taking a short break, but Morning at NTV continues.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Mulondo. On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Kubazo ziruma bisoro mbuzi nkoko ntembata ate mwetu mabawa mbuzi wankoko wayivoto kali bamira zozi sasiransa jazatu
nakwata amasavu abalanga ateke mbali atuke wa haja asasula ekyatandwa mu obusawo okubye kwa semiti asasula haja Yosefu we bali kunonya sente ya rabbi ya rabbi yoba
and to borrow songs from his songs, words from his songs. Then the chick told him, but we need to plan this whole journey. You are the man here, and we are going to move a very long journey, and I don't know what we're going to do. When you reach the forest, what are we going to tell these guys? He said, Zagano.
You can download movies at the lowest prices another fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Mulondo.
Welcome back from the break. Just to remind you that this is a very interactive show. Earlier we had posted a question, is Amama Mbabazi indeed the world's most conversational leader on Twitter? Do join the discussion here on Facebook and find out what people are saying, as well as checking out some of the pictures of what happens behind the scenes. We now cross over to Simon for today's big story. Good morning, Simon. Looking very serious today.
Very good morning, Mabel. Yes, we are looking at being fake. Or is there an English word for fakeness? Or am I saying my English is fake? This morning we are looking at counterfeits. The avalanche of counterfeits on our market is appalling for the most part. But there is a government body that is charged with protecting us from the onslaught of these fake or counterfeit, or should I say, goods that are not worth their name. So this morning we'll be looking at standards, what items should be of what standard, and of course I know many of you are watching us off your Sony TVs, that the O of Sony is a Q. Certainly that is not a bona fide Sony, and that's why you may have a problem of getting how we actually look like. We're talking about counterfeits. How are you able to tell a bona fide or a counterfeit TV? We'll be right back. Good morning once again. If you're just joining us, we are out the big story. This is the section of Morning at NTV that delves deeper into an issue. And this morning we're looking at substandard goods on our markets. Now we know that fake products have been on a steady increase and penetrating our livelihoods. If you look at the phone you're holding, the TV on which you're watching me, or even the shirt you are wearing, or should I say the cup that you're holding to drink your morning coffee on, everything around us, even the specs you're wearing through which you must see me, many of them may possibly not hit the mark of quality. From consumables to non-consumables, a Ugandan is at an 80% risk of purchasing a fake product. What is even more worrying is that there is no law in Uganda that entitles you to make a claim for replacement. And this morning, we are looking at what this plays out for us as consumers, but also what government ought to do as the protector of not only just our lives, but also what we purchase. This morning we have the pleasure of hosting the amiable Patricia Ejalu, the Deputy Executive Director at Uganda National Bureau of Standards. Good morning, Patricia.
Good morning, Simon. How are you?
Not bad, just only worried about the avalanche of fake products on our markets and the fact that the laws that we have in place do not seem to buttress us as consumers. They may give you powers enough, yes, to curtail these products, but supposing they slip through your heavy grip and get onto the market, how are we protected? Let's start from there.
Okay. The issue of products that we call fake is really covered by two specific areas. They are either substandard products or they are counterfeit products. Now, the substandard products are governed under the UNBS Act, which was amended last year in 2013 to give it more stringent penalties to make sure that if you actually go wrong, you will actually feel the pinch when we go after
the amendment came 30 years down the road, because I remember that this act was put in place in 1983.
And it has been a long journey, but we finally got it last year, which is really good for us.
Does it tighten all the loose nuts and bolts that the 1983 law had?
Yes, it does.
And
It does.
Can you maybe explain to us how buttressed we as consumers are from these counterfeit products?
Right now, with this institution, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, we've got departments that are responsible for looking at what comes into the country, our Imports Inspection Department. We have a department that looks at what is made in the country, that is the quality assurance. It deals with certification of products to make sure they meet standards and surveillance of the market, to go into the market and look for what is not
Fake.
right. Then we also have the testing department, because when you're dealing with substandard, you have to be able to test and say, yes, it doesn't meet this, or no, it's okay.
But wait a minute. What's the difference between counterfeit and substandard?
With the issue of substandard, you have a document, a requirement is stated in there. Water, bottled water shall have A, B, C, D, and it will look like this. It will be labeled like this. That is agreed to, and it's called a Uganda standard. Now, whatever is out there that does not meet that standard, it
Or
is
if one of the ticks is
substandard.
not, if one of the boxes is not ticked.
Yes, it is substandard. There are some basic safety, health and safety requirements that must be met, because when you don't, you are going to affect the lives of other
If
people.
it doesn't meet that threshold, then it is a fake.
It is substandard.
It is
Okay?
substandard.
Now let's go into the technical words. It is substandard. But when you have an issue about somebody trading on another person's trademark, you're going into the counterfeit business. Because somebody is making a product, as you mentioned, Sonkwi. So they wanted to try and hide behind somebody who has invested in developing a brand.
So
You're
you-
going into intellectual property here. Are we together?
So if it is a Sony, but
Yeah.
where the O is a Q, that is counterfeit.
That is counterfeit, because
That
he's
is
trying,
fake.
whoever that person is trying to sell that product with like a Sony. And people who may not be looking, the moment they see Sony, hey, Sony, and they
You
buy
know, of course,
it,
we read
thinking you're buying
words by
Sony.
the first and last letters. You never check out what's
That's
in the
right.
middle.
Now, the counterfeit people are not there for a long time, because they know eventually somebody, because you buy that product, it will not perform as expected, and you will never go back again, you see. So it's a
So they always
one-time
hit.
So
So
and
they're
then
always
you
looking
enjoy,
out
then
for the
you
most
go out and
gullible.
look for something. That's right. So those are the two areas we're playing with. The counterfeits sometimes, and most usually, are substandard. That's how UNBS gets them. But
So
not all
every
counterfeits.
most counterfeits are
Yeah, are
substandard.
substandard.
But not all substandard goods are counterfeit.
Exactly.
And
And not all counterfeits are substandard.
that's quite a very
There are
interesting.
some counterfeits which you test them and they will meet the requirement. They're safe.
Mobile
They're
telephones,
okay.
I know them. It's a
But
Samsung, but
they are trading on somebody else's issues. And the fair trade issue has to be taken into consideration, because otherwise you're affecting the business community. People will not go into business if they know their goods are going to be...
Patricia, we are looking at this situation playing out in consumables and also items that we use on a day-to-day basis. I
That's
know
right.
people who, this town is full of an array of men's shoes, for example.
That's right.
But I call them the disposable shoes. They claim to be leather, they are not leather.
That's
Then, of course, you get down to consumables like children's formula milk. It is certainly a health hazard. Some of it is radioactive simply because they emit the specific standards. All this and more. It does obviously worry you as the standards regulator in this country.
That's right.
But how robust are you so that the Ugandans can take the comfort that you're going to buttress them from this influx of these counterfeit and substandard goods?
I'll be the first to admit that Uganda National Bureau of Standards does not have the full capacity it would like to have to protect everybody. And that's actually part of the reason why the pre-export verification program came in, Because what we want is that before these goods are shipped to this country, make sure that they are checked in the country of origin, confirm that it meets our standards, then it comes. So that reduces the burden on us, so that we can focus on
the local
what
products.
is inside here.
Like I know a certain pharmaceutical, and next time I buy their drug and it is as fake as the ampicloxacillin I bought from them, which could not even smell as an antibiotic, I would mention it on air. But you know, we have got local Ugandan companies which are calling themselves investors, and we give them all this environment, we give them tax holidays and all that, but their final product is substandard. How are you able, given the current law, to curtail this?
Now, when it comes to drugs, we have the NDA Act. The National Drug Authority will handle everything. But what I want you know, the thing is this. We are putting institutions, the institutions are there in place to handle all these issues. We are doing the best that we can to protect everyone, but we need information from you, the user. When something arises, we have a toll-free line, we have our website, we have Twitter, we are on Twitter, Facebook, we have all areas possible. Please give us this information, because we have systems in place to follow this up. The truth of the matter is that we shan't always be on the ground.
Some people argue that this UNBS Act, as amended in 2013, is not robust enough to give punitive sentences or deterrent punishments for those involved in this kind of skirmish. In other words, they know, well, I will be caught behind, on the wrong side of the law, but somehow wriggle out because the law is not robust enough to press me, you know where.
Yeah, that has changed, because before 2013, what you're saying was very true. Because after going through the whole prosecution process, you'd end up with a fine of about 3,000 shillings. Nobody would mind doing that. And it was also costing us more money to take you through the prosecution than when we win the case. Someone just walks away.
It was just a zero
sum.
So
that has changed in the law now, because now you can go to jail for some, I need to confirm how many years, not less than 5, I believe. And the payment is in the millions now. It is currency units, and therefore, as the years move, that will be growing with. So it will affect you. Just like the PIVOC program, the penalty is 15% CIF.
Wow.
And I'm getting people asking
CIF?
The cost what is it? Cost and freight charges, the cost of everything you have brought in, including the transport, everything. We are going to charge you 15% of that.
You send people out of this business.
So it is a big mistake to get it wrong.
2 years ago, your executive director did decry the fact that the Uganda National Bureau of Standards did not have the ample manpower and human resource skill required to meet this Herculean task that you are charged with. Is that still the case 2 years down the road?
Yes, we are a total of about 230. Just over 230 people handling the whole of Uganda. As I had mentioned, we have imports QA testing. We also have the National Metrology Lab that does the calibration. We have the legal metrology that does the scales and the fuel pumps. We have training and consultancy. I mean, this is, you can imagine the amount of work that we have.
And you have also corporate affairs, like what you're doing right now.
In that 230, we have the management people who handle us, the people who look after the human resource and everything. So not all the 230 are technical people.
So we can comfortably say that there are vacancies at UNBS.
Yes, and we will need government support. You see, right now
what
there's
a bad...
you
need? People are out there with an education.
Yes, and we cannot recruit without... Recruitment comes with the pay, the salary scales and the issues of can you increase on what your salary is right now.
So are you saying that working at UNBS is so remuneration-wise unattractive for the amount of talent that is always out there clamoring, we don't have jobs, we don't have jobs? Are you saying you are unable to attract this talent, nurture this talent, and be able to meet your Herculean task?
I wouldn't say we won't attract, but we've got some way to go. There's still a lot of room for improvement. The work people are doing here is so important. They're looking after people's lives. So they need to be looked after as well.
So that they are not susceptible to issues of being bribed in the field and all that.
Exactly. We have to face that.
Patricia, when you say we want government's help, government is one amorphous thing that where I sit has no face. So when you say government, who exactly are you looking at? Are we talking about the Minister of Trade?
The Minister of Trade, I will not fault her on anything because she's really pushing for this institution to become a priority.
So who in the government or what
budget.
in the
you
government?
See, when they are laying out budgets, and we've got a really tight budget in this country.
I can imagine.
So what we need is for Uganda National Bureau of Standards to be made a priority so that it can do all this work. That is
well,
what
we
we're
understand the encumbrances on how you are able to, you know, curtail these tasks or even perform these tasks that you have before you.
Yes.
But even for the most part, where your staff go, the public seems to say, these UNBS people, one, they are reluctant to heed to our call when we tell them that they are fake products here. But perhaps we also suspect that possibly they get some little kitu kidogo when they arrest a rich bourgeoisie like Kasiati, who has imported in 100 containers of fake spectacles. Are you above those commissions and picadillos of corruption, for example? Have you had those cases?
I will admit that where UNBS has been in, let's say, before about 3-4 years ago, we were in the middle of all that.
Don't pass the buck on the previous management.
We are not going to. No, I was there. Am I denying? I was part of UNBS at that time. So that's why I'm saying, as an institution, we were not in the right place, and we had a lot of things that were not being done right. But we have tried very much now to change the way we do things. Our procedures are in place. We are going through restructuring. We have our values, which we are trying to ingrain in everybody. And one of those key ones is the integrity. Because if people don't have confidence in what we are doing, we have lost it from the beginning. So I would like to believe that UNBS has become a new institution. And you know, once you've turned that corner, you have that work of climbing back up again.
No chance of going backwards.
There's no one bullet that's going to solve this. We've got to do the work. We've got to build the confidence with everybody. If you're not aware, we're actually celebrating our 25 years of existence. We launched it this week on Tuesday. So we're really excited. We want to show that we are a new group of people.
And you are just as vibrant and hardworking as a 25-year-old individual.
And we want people to support us.
Patricia, there is one sticking point that many viewers possibly will associate to. We always hear of the fact that when you go to a pump station, the pump attendant can give you air.
Yes.
Yes, I know that for every pump that I see, for the most part, I see a UNBS sticker showing that this has been validated, this has been verified, this has been tested.
Yes.
What confidence should we have in the dispensation of such a vital product like fuel in our cars, in our kerosene lamps?
I want people to be assured, when you see that sticker there, please know that it's not just a sticker. There is a seal inside the machine which has sealed it to make sure that it will bring out the amount of fuel that is supposed to come out. But what we need, because I'm not claiming people will not try and tamper. You see, once you tamper, we have procedures to deal with you.
But how would I know that this has been tampered?
We as consumers now, and I'm talking about all of us, as consumers, we also have to take note that we must also be very vigilant when we are buying this fuel. You cannot go to a fuel station and not be aware of what somebody is doing behind your car. And as long as you are looking, I can assure you you're going to get the right fuel when that particular area has been checked.
That is on the amount of fuel. What about the quality of the fuel inside that pump?
The quality,
we also know that a lot of this fuel is adulterated.
Exactly.
How capable are you from protecting consumers who buy their wonderful cars and expect to take wonderful fuel?
Now that's another part we are dealing with. We are in partnership with Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, because the area of fuel is really under them, but we are partnering together because we have the testing capacity. So we are going to have a boost in our testing capacity. We've been a bit limited there in checking the quality of that fuel. And we have already seen the traders themselves in fuel have made it an issue. Please check this quality. So in essence, we are able to do a very small bit right now. But our focus right now, and as I speak, we have actually received some equipment which arrived only recently at the airport, and we are expecting another lot this financial year. So it's going to be superb. It's going to be a very good year for us. I'm very excited.
Well, Patricia, I mean, the issues of quality and all that can be debated till the cows come home.
Yes, indeed.
But we also know that human beings are such that when they do a good job, seemingly or otherwise, they deserve to be given a pat on the back. I'm not saying we should give a pat on the back on UNBS or maybe until they deserve it. But what about those companies in Uganda whose products meet the mark of quality? How about those importers who bring in the bona fide brands into this country? Is there any form of recognition? I mean, where you test and regularly they hit the mark, is there any way of, say, a pat on the back from your side to them to show them that, look, you have the mark of quality and possibly this is what you win, so that can give consumers the confidence to deal with particular brands or companies as opposed to others? Or would you be charged of campaigning or advertising on behalf of one company against the other?
No, what we have done, and it has been there for a few years, and now we are trying to work on it to make it an even better way of doing this. We have the Quality Gala every year where we give awards to those who have consistently shown that they meet the quality marks. I mean,
you also give those who have consistently fallen below follow the bar just to name and shame?
No, with the name and shame is coming out now because we've decided, you know, sometimes going through the court process might be too lengthy.
Exactly.
Let's inform people, especially in areas of food. I cannot take that risk of waiting for somebody to die.
Or for the
if
court
somebody
to decide.
shows this, we are going to name and shame. We are doing the standards guide with the new vision, the quality guide with the new vision. So we have also created that platform where we want our people, especially those who perform really, really well, to be partners with it and showcase everything. It comes out every month right now.
I mean, one of your service providers, Bureau of Veritas of the UK, I think if I'm very right, does provide ISO certification to companies that meet certain standards in different calibrations. Are we able to see something of a Ugandan nature where UNBS is giving a max of quality? I have seen your logo somewhere that this is UNBS certified, but are we looking at, you know, a certification that can be at an international level like ISO, or would that be replicating and you allow ISO to come and do it instead?
We intend to get, we're already giving the certification, by the way, in terms of ISO management systems, but we're not accredited yet, and we are going to begin that job. Because, you know, getting to accreditation so that our certification is recognized internationally, as you have mentioned. We've done a lot, we've collected a lot of data, because, you know, you have to show that you're actually able to do this. So by the time you call the people who are going to give you the accreditation, they must be able to see what you've done, how you've done it. Are you actually doing it according to the ISO standard? So by the time we call for the accreditation, we should be ready for that. I
understand and fully appreciate what ISO certification does mean, especially that after this I'm going to work for an ISO certified company. As committees, you know that. Our dear viewers, and I'm sure you have picked up quite a number of you know, issues that possibly had escaped you with regard to standards in this country. But this debate and discussion does continue on social media. Our Twitter and Facebook handles and pages respectively are up and running, and we'll be more than glad to receive your questions, your comments, and even highlights of where you think some things are going wrong, so that we can raise it to Patricia here and her indomitable team. When we return, it's Simon Says. You know, being fake is something that not many of us really want to associate with. But many times people go out for fake or substandard products because, yes, the age-old cry of I was unable to buy the bona fide one. What about if the difference between buying the bona fide product and the fake product means the presence or the absence of your life? Sometimes we need to value our life much more than the little holdings that we hold to ourselves. If you must have a mobile phone, save up and wait until you get a proper brand that's not going to cause radioactive interaction between the handset and your brain, so that you eventually in 5 years get a brain tumor. You would never forgive yourself for doing that. If you really want formula milk for your child, but you're unable to buy the bona fide brand, but you want to get a chifanananga, as they say, or a chikoranga, do you ever stop to ask yourself on whether what you are doing will not cost the life of your child or even your own life? So many times we want quick fixes. Many times we want to look like. Many times we want to appear like. Many times we want to find something that works like. But do we ever stop to ask ourselves the cost of holding on to fake stuff? I'm one of those who, and at the risk of sounding vain, who will say I would rather have nothing at all than having it fake on me. That's how I'll find the authentic kind of bow ties, I'll find the right pair of specs, I'll find an authentic leather boot for a shoe so that I am comfortable in my walk and have one pair as opposed to having 10 fake ones. Because anyway, I can only afford one pair. The same should apply to you. If you must watch us on television, save up and buy a proper brand of TV as opposed to one which is going to cause an unmitigated form of light rays emanating from that screen and eventually cost you your sight. If you must drink water, hold up until you are sure that the brand you are drinking is one that will not cause diseases unknown to you. Well, let's start our Thursday morning. Let us make it productive, but let's be aware of the fake stuff in our midst. And of course, fake also goes for human beings. There's some fake people out there, but UNBS doesn't have the mandate against them. You also need to watch out for those, because those have a lot of negative energy around them that doesn't make you as productive as I would wish you and I to be, for the good of not only ourselves, but for the good of our nation. The program still continues morning at NTV, but for now we take a kick-off, and then of course, you stay on the TV to watch more quality programming, and of course, engage in the most productive ways that you possibly can. And I say productive meaning work, not reproductive. Have a good morning.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Having broken the hunger story in Napak, we appeal to the general public to contribute towards the Feed Napak initiative. Kindly donate items like clothes, food, shoes and other items to support our vulnerable brothers and sisters in Napak district, Karamoja. Kindly bring your donated items to the Uganda National Theatre from the 2nd to 30th June 2014 or send your mobile money contribution to Winnie Banage on MTN 0772 121986. For more information, call Diana on 0791 162357. We can do great things with great love.
Gonna have a chance to be sisters.
You want the baby to have my name?
Would that be okay?
Son, I'm happy you came. Yes, especially since I thought you were shunning all things Newman. I have my own reasons for showing up.
What did you say about him?
I'm sorry, attempted rape.
Okay, look, whatever you think you know about him, you don't know his heart.
If there is a way to make me feel more miserable, you will instinctively find it.
You gave up the one woman you loved, and now you're having a hard time figuring out how to move on?
I can't imagine who would want to hurt a good man like you.
Okay, you know what? I don't need you telling me how to feel about Lily.
Are you pregnant? No. Then why are you trying to alienate Tyler?
Has something happened between the two of you? Are you afraid that I'm gonna do something to ruin your marriage, or that you will?
Why don't we have a party? I'll bring Nikki and bring your siblings. How's that?
Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna blackmail them this time, or are you gonna bribe them?
Looks like Mommy's not the only one who knows how to make up a story.
The 4th annual Dog Show and Bazaar is back. Come and be a part of man's best friend as they compete in tracking, agility and course maneuver, attack, dog handling. 6th of July at the Chadondo Rugby Club grounds from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 20,000 shillings for adults and 10,000 shillings for children. Can your dog manage any of these challenges? For all dog owners and lovers.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
La Patrona.
What's this?
Oh, that gives us hope. It's a relief. Your risking your life tonight wasn't in vain. Goodbye, slavery. And goodbye to you, Antonia Guerra. Free.
What are you doing here, you murderer? This is where I worked.
No,
Let me go, please.
No.
Tired of being your pet old lady.
I'll ask you once again. Why did you do it?
La Patrona.
Download movies at the lowest prices another fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Are you and I ever gonna have a chance to be sisters?
You want the baby to have my name?
Would that be okay?
Son, I'm happy you came.
Yes, especially since I thought you were shunning all things Newman.
I have my own reasons for showing up.
What did you say about him?
I'm sorry, attempted rape.
Okay, look, whatever you think you know about him, you don't know his heart.
If there is a way to make me feel more miserable, you will instinctively find it.
You gave up the one woman you loved, and now you're having a hard time figuring out how to move on?
I can't imagine who would want to hurt a good man like you.
Okay, you know what? I don't need you telling me how to feel about Lily.
Are you pregnant? No. Then why are you trying to alienate Tyler?
Has something happened between the two of you?
Are you afraid that I'm gonna do something to ruin your marriage, or that you will?
Why don't we have a party? I'll bring Nikki and bring your siblings. How's that?
Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna blackmail them this time, or are you gonna bribe them?
Looks like Mommy's not the only one who knows how to make up a story.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
It's about 8 minutes after 8 o'clock this Thursday, the 26th day of June. Thank you for joining us. Earlier, Simon hosted Patricia Ejalu, and she was talking about standards in Uganda, and she was talking about the difference between counterfeit goods and substandard goods. When someone else is using another person's trademark, then that's a counterfeit product. And Ronald says, what if the product has the same everything? He wants to know whether that makes it right. Well, you be the judge. And Agaba Kenneth is saying the product is the same, but Uganda of today, well, most of us have unfortunately been duped into buying things that we thought were genuine but actually weren't. We now cross over to Brian to tell us what's happening in everyday life today. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Mabel. In a discussion we had with friends over what each one of us would do with 500,000 shillings, we discovered that most of the people in the group would go out clubbing, drinking, or buying expensive gadgets like the latest Samsung S5. I paused for a moment and thought, where is the problem? Is it at home or school? Did our parents actually help us understand the use of money early on? Did they catch it, or we have caught it when it's far too late? Can we repair the damage that was caused? Josephine Kalebi from Junior Achievement Uganda joins us this morning to talk about financial literacy to our children coming up on Everyday Life. Good morning, Josephine.
Good morning, Brian.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Welcome.
The name is Junior Achievements Uganda.
Yes.
Why Junior Achievement? What do you do at Junior Achievement?
It's Junior Achievement because we believe that everybody has a potential to achieve. And at Junior Achievement, we inspire young people to be entrepreneurial, to be financially literate, and to be work ready. We do this by introducing alternate learning method, which is practical learning, to help young people to start living the life we want them to live, relating theory to practice instead of leaving it to the conventional education. Yes.
We live in a country where people's views about money has a lot of stereotypes, where money beats Gonzaga, over all this stuff.
Yeah.
And somehow our children have learned to not survive and do anything without money. For the case of children, is it necessary that actually parents start? When is it appropriate to introduce money? Should we ever talk about money? What is the attitude that our children should have?
Money is the core of life. It's something we live with. It's very, very important that we introduce money at a very young age, starting from home, before they even leave school. How should we introduce this? In the little, looking at the level of understanding of the kid you are dealing with, trying to explain. For instance, if you went shopping, taking them out to when you are doing the weekend groceries, and they understand, introduce the notions of what is a need and what is a want. How do you sacrifice? You can't have it all the time. But otherwise, situations whereby because he or she has thrown tantrums and you're supposed to go for that chocolate, doesn't teach the child what money is. There's a way you have to start, slowly by slowly, in the house. Who is managing what? For instance, I can take an example of managing the electricity bills, and then give rewards. How should we manage our electricity bill? If you live on these lights everywhere, then we can't eat out or we can't go on holiday. Right. So little things, and you give rewards, significant rewards for them to look out for. Reason why we should save this to get that.
How are we going to help our children, for example, not throw tantrums when we do personally throw them? You know, for example, if a guy refuses to give his girlfriend money to go and do hair, no talking until you release the 200K or 500K. How is it going to be?
Yeah, it's because we have developed a character or behavior that is artificial, thinking that we must have everything at once, which cannot be sustainable. It starts with you controlling yourself, knowing that, yes, I need this iPhone, I need this iPad, I need this. Do I need all this, or I just want them? If I want this, can I wait to have that? Trying to sort yourself out. And then really, the example you've given of the girlfriend, if you are in a serious relationship, you can explain what is happening and get to know what comes first. What does our love depend on? What you want every other day? It is just because maybe the background, most of us, maybe we didn't get a chance to understand money. Most homes, like you said, show it as evil. When we mention money, say, you girl, you are greedy. But if from home you have cultivated a relationship of understanding money, sparing the little you have before going for asking for the 500K you're talking about, then somebody slowly will understand the meaning that as much as I love it in my past, he loves it in his past. As much as I want to utilize this 5,000 for this, he also loves it to utilize it for that. So how maximally can I utilize the 5,000? Does it really call for exhausting all I have now to be seen, all I can save for the rainy day?
Right.
Yeah.
You do a lot of work with schools.
Yes.
And so that brings up a point of the age. When is it appropriate to even talk about money? Doesn't rewarding condition also, doesn't it also condition them to thinking that when I do something good, I'll get money? That's the only time we'll talk about money. It has to be a transaction. You give me something, I'll give you something.
The rewarding example that I gave is a training kind of rewarding as a family. You get us involved, get your children involved in the financial management of your home, yeah, whereby everybody understands how big is our purse. You're not going to reveal your salary. I know that's very difficult. But your children must understand it's not a given to have a paid TV or to... We pay for electricity, we pay for food, we pay... If, for instance, we grow vegetables and we don't buy them, we can have our vegetables from home. That's a saving. And we can use this money to pay for your TV. But otherwise, or else, if during holidays, instead of sleeping in, you can help me work in the poultry farm, and the money I would have paid the person who works in the poultry farm, we can use it for ABCD. That's the rewarding that I'm trying to help them to understand. How does our family earn, and how can we slowly get them into the financial management? Otherwise, they take it for granted that everything, it's available, it's possible. So that's why they keep asking, because in whatever case, they ask and it's there. They ask. So the moment you are not able to provide, they're frustrated. It looks like a denial, much as it may not be a denial. So slowly, if they were involved in the financial management, they will know, where does daddy get the money from? How does mommy make this money? How should we save to support her? How can I even not throw this and keep it and reuse it to save the little for another thing we are looking up to?
And when is the right age to talk that stuff? Because it's good stuff. And most of us have actually learned that information when we are grown. Some of us are surprised when we start families.
Yes.
That, you mean I have to do, because we have never known, no one has ever talked to us.
Yes.
And so we've had to discover on our own.
Age, I said it should start at any age where you see this person, this young boy or girl is starting to understand. I would even say age 4, age 5. If I can give an example of the one I saw that I say that throws tantrums in a supermarket. He wants a ball, he wants a bicycle, he wants chocolate. Sit down and explain, now of the 3 we have to choose one. Make a decision, and not now. We can only do it at the end of the month. Much as I have the money in my purse,
right now,
I'm trying to show him it doesn't happen as and when you want it.
It's not instant.
It's not instant. At the end of the month, that's when I earn my salary. I want to put it on the budget. Let us, you know what a budget is? You try to introduce budget. You see the list we came with from home. It's the money I have in the bag. So at the end of the month, let's choose which one should we go for. Think of it before we go to the end of the month. Choose between, you can't have all. And every now and then you sound him out. Before you know, he has changed from chocolate, I think it's the bicycle. I think he chooses which is more significant to his life. So you try to support these people to make choices. Life is about choices. It's not about everything. So you nurture that choice making right from the beginning as you teach her how to sit properly, how to treat people, how to be courteous. Financial management should start at that level too.
Right. Yeah. Earlier I talked about the stereotype about money.
Yes.
With the work that you've done,
yes.
What are the stereotypes out there that children attach to money? When you do your work in primary schools or secondary schools,
yes.
When you ask the kids what they think about money, what do they tell you?
Most children, they think money is a given. Primary school, many believe, comes from the ATMs. Mommy will provide. Money, government will provide. They because maybe how the way we've brought them of always begging and what have you, they think it's okay to beg and you must be given. The situation is like the world owes me or somebody owes me. It's like I must get. So the work we do is trying to reverse it. Nobody owes you anything. You owe it to yourself. If anything, you owe to the world a lot of things. So it is about getting them to understand and appreciate. So the practical learning that we introduce in schools is about getting them to practice and touch and get the feel. I don't know if you have ever had the chance of getting a young person, you're going for the groceries and you give him his 10,000 and say, all you need, have your card, I have my card, do your shopping. You realize at the end of the shopping, everything that he usually craves, like ice cream or sausages, go into your cart. He doesn't want to touch his money. That's a lesson. He gets the feeling, oh, this is mine, or this is mine. So touch, allow them to touch and feel through what? Like examples of the company program we do in school, when they do their little learning businesses.
Yeah.
They do financial management, they do planning, they question. So then it helps them to understand, oh, if I do this, we save here. If I talk well, I can sell. If I plan a package like this, it can work like that. And then they read more. They are forced to yearn for more knowledge to know how to manage money.
I see some graphical presentations. Do you do this? Is it the same way? Because I see from the supermarket, you go to the market, you go to the community bank. Isn't this too much? It's too complicated for young kids.
It isn't. It's like storytelling. We are trying to demystify the notion of what is money, where does money come from. If you look at that, it's how does money move? It's a story showing money, it's made from the central bank, how it goes to the bank, how does it move from the bank, what can it do? So it's a story of money, telling the story of where it has been. From the bank, went to a restaurant, to a fishmonger, the laundry. So showing these little ones, how does money move and then go back to the bank.
Right.
So it's not introducing the notion of banking in them, that you don't have to keep your money in the house. Money has to be used to exchange for services. The story in there shows them how do they buy, what services, what products, what use can money do, and how it ends back. So unless you work, that's when you can touch money. That's the message there. There's nowhere it involves. Even Paul, who was given, was rewarded for good work. Yes.
If you're just joining us, I'm chatting with a very inspiring lady this morning, Josephine Kaleba, who is the CEO of Junior Achievements Uganda. Some of your feedback on Twitter, looks like there's other people that you've worked with. Ashaba Hebwa Timothy saying, big ups to Junior Achievement. It was of good financial practice while in school. Junior Achievement introduced me to the world of business, and it's a remarkable journey since then. Okay, you have some testimonies here. I think it's important, at least to those of 12 years and more. Have we also, as parents, thought the kids cannot understand money unless they are old? Have we we are the ones who have caused literally an accident to our own children, because we think when they're young, they can't comprehend money.
Because even beyond 12, we have had issues with parents, even at secondary school level, who shun such programs, and they say, oh, don't introduce money at this age, you're going to disrupt my child, he's going to go out of school. But the question is, why is he in school in the first place? Help him to understand reason he is in school. Maybe this is why we're having dropouts. Maybe this is why we don't have purposeful careers. They believe they're studying for you. They don't see reason. Can you introduce, when they do these programs, when they get these experiences, like the testimonies you've had, they get this exposure and start identifying self. Who am I? What's my potential?
Yeah.
What can I do? What do I do best in class? Much as I'm good in physics, but I don't feel myself as an engineer, I don't see myself there. This is the niche. They start identifying niches, purposeful careers. So they start reading out who has done better in that sphere. And even then, how does it pay? You see, money drives everything. It helps them to learn. But this is a situation where we have somebody has passed so well and comes for a job, and how much do you want? Any. Really? That's an educated person. What job do you want? Any. So are you sure that person is going to effectively perform the tasks you have given? So because there is no experience, there is no passion, there is no knowing what I can do and what do I want. So it involves a lot of guidance at all levels. We talk about parents. Maybe we also don't know parents. Like the example you've given. Most of us have maybe had a chance all of a sudden to have a windfall. And yeah, because I suffered, I have to give them whatever they ask. I have to give them.
Yeah, we say, I don't want to go through what I don't want my child to go through what I went through.
Which is really a disaster, because the moment that stops, when the tap stops, you have left them in a situation whereby things were supposed to be successful all the time, and they can't manage. But if you show them, this is how I make this is your life, you are yet to do your life, I'm supporting you to channel your life into where you have been, instead of going down the train. This is what you need to do. So we also, as parents, need to revisit our way of handling money, our way of dishing out money, and support these people. If a young boy or girl comes from school, has experienced JA, wants to start a popcorn business. One time I had a girl from a prominent school in her vacation, and I met her along the road, and she stopped me. I said, what are you doing? How are you keeping yourself busy in this vacation? I said, oh my God, I can't wait to join the university. My father can't hear of it. Me, in these small petty businesses, he says he gives me everything.
Wow.
So that's a parent. So you can imagine a parent would be happy to see a girl child starting to work for herself, because we know how vulnerable they become. Even boys these days, when they are thinking that they go into all sorts of manners of behaviors because of money. But when you teach them how to make money, you help a lot of evils not to get them.
Right. Yeah. Wow. We've seen so many parents that punish their kids because, you know, the parent bans the child because of 100 shillings, almost kills the child. And I guess those are some of the situations that also make us parents not able to talk our children. 100 shillings, you know, is certainly peanuts. And I understand that poverty also conditions some of us to think that our kids should not be exposed because we have over-counted, we have over-budgeted for the family. So we make it hard for kids to understand. Junior Achievement Uganda can definitely help you. We'll be posting their contacts on our Facebook page and Twitter, and you can follow those discussions right now. The weather is really changing here at the rooftop. If you're getting out of your house, please remember to carry a jacket or an umbrella as you make your way back home or to work or for a meeting. For now, let's take a breather. When we come back, we'll be talking more World Cup and, of course, Uganda, which we have not talked about in a long time because of what's happening in Rio. Make sure you stay with us. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brian.
And I will definitely call you back,
Thank you.
especially to talk to parents about their own financial literacy.
Yes, thank
you. They need it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
You're watching watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Mulondo.
Health in Wellness is brought to you by Caring Tech Strength, Panadol Advance. Matter, take Panadol Advance. Panadol Advance is a fast pain reliever with Optizop technology. Caring Tech Strength, Panadol Advance.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Kona ne NTV tusinzide chotera
bandi nambe
abantu batwaniza bulungi tukuse ne banafu aba the new Eagles abatulezile chaka bila bana bapya yenze ngale njawulo empisa zonse zito abadabuze ne bagamba nti yavaako sabasinga wakuti
nze nakubwira lwamiti omulimu gwo ogumanyi nti gwakola ku TV era tokola ngayo omulimu omulala gwonna
naye atunyonnyola ddala comedy ne theatre byawukana bitya
music, dance and drama and I'm proud of it.
Twegatteko ng'oteeka ekigambo koona
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
I'm gonna blow your mind and I'm gonna twist your taste buds. The flavors are already coming together. I can feel them. Very lovely, very appetizing, very healthy. Remember, the way you see it, the way you like it, is the way you get it from my kitchen to your kitchen.
Ekifo ekimu kissa wamusu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo embeera mw'okolera ebyobufuzi ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi ebyogerwa tebiyita tuusa eddoboozi lyo yogera naffe buli lwakuna butereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
Everybody empowerment as long as they can wake up and vote for their NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am Muyai?
It's absolutely true. I admired the President Museveni.
Is the ICC a first code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only the two individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
Hey there, Mr. Krabs! Are you ready to party?
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it.
Wow! Hello, fellow motor enthusiasts.
Oh, Mr. Krabs, isn't there any way for us to return all of them back to normal? Hey! How
How'd he do that? The Red Ranger's a bigger problem than I thought.
It's time to finish this thing up.
What can I do to make them love me again?
What are you drawing, Kitty?
Mega Rangers? That's a mega win.
Hello? King Julian, you are truly inspiring. Ow! SpongeBob!
Fantastic!
It's 25 on to 9 o'clock. Thank you so much for staying with us. A reminder that today at 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. we'll be going live to Imperial Royal Hotel for the Ipsos workshop on the power of insight. Please be reminded that at 9:30 a.m. we shall be going live to the Imperial Royal Hotel and a debate with Ipsos, the power of insight. Make sure you tune in at that time. Good morning, Brayo.
Morning.
What's up, man?
Cool, man. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Ebo, good to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, meanwhile, they caught us having those things. What do you call them? Selfie.
Selfie.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get one. I've never taken one.
You've never taken a selfie?
What is that?
Are you joking?
Even Museveni has taken one.
Even
Where have
the
you
president
been?
who we didn't.
Did someone take it for him or he took it himself?
Okay, let's. Okay, you hold the phone and you turn the phone like this, eh? So you, but you must include us. Eh, but your hand is big.
It is okay. I'll take a shower time.
Brian. Okay, Brian is going to take a selfie and he's going to post it on our Facebook page, and you tell us what you think about his first selfie.
Because I have no probably any more poses. I left them in high school. No more smiles.
Well, Brian, the World Cup is this year's World Cup is definitely full of surprises.
Absolutely.
I was very sad that we lost the game as Africans yesterday, you know. But for someone who does not understand why Nigeria is through, how did that happen?
Okay. First of all, the good thing that almost everyone knows that they are through. That's the most important thing. The rest you can, because that's the norm in Africa. If it's not before qualification, there's a lot of mathematics. Even after, I still have to explain mathematics. That's how unfortunate it is sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's the issue. Nigeria going into the game at 4 points. So going into the game, actually, even without kicking a ball, Bosnia could have done a job for them. What I'm saying is, if Bosnia beats Iran, then Nigeria didn't have to kick a ball, because that meant Bosnia would finish with 3 points, Iran with 1, then Nigeria with 4. So Bosnia would not catch up with the Nigerians. That's why actually they qualified, because the Nigerians lost to Argentina, the Bosnians beat up on the Iranians, and that's how Nigeria got through. But I think for me, most important, they did their job just before the last group games.
So it was very good for us to beat Bosnia.
Yeah,
Is it Bosnia that we beat?
Yes, exactly, Bosnia.
Right.
And the draw with Iran, of course, that Nigeria were expected to beat. But that Iran side, anyone who was Argentina, Iran, could have seen actually how organized they can be, and how defensively Carlos Queiroz set up his side.
So what happened yesterday?
Yesterday, I think because I think they needed to win first of all. The problem in such sides that come with a lot of, I think, defensive tactics is that once it comes to time when they are supposed to win by all means, then they cannot play defensive.
Yeah.
They've got to let certain things out of the window, and then, of course, open up yourself, attack to get the 3 points, because there's no way you're going to win a game of football without attacking. Now, once they attack, can they have the same defensive shape when they have about 11 men, or rather 10 men behind the ball? They don't. That's how the Bosnians are caught up with their tactics. But also, the Bosnians, I think, wanted to go out of the World Cup on a high. If you have players like Pjanic, Edin Dzeko, and a couple of others actually who are very good, why would you want to leave the World Cup without a single point? Even Iran beating up on you. So I think the Bosnians wanted to leave the World Cup on a high, which they did in the process, helping Nigeria, who themselves had a fantastic performance, I must say. This is Argentina. I mean, I'm always against the attitude of Africans thinking because it's Argentina, you should fear them, respect them. But I think they put up a good show. It was a show of Messi against Musa. Messi scored twice. Every time Messi scored this side, Musa said, hey, listen to me, dude. I can do better. He replied this other side.
Fantastic goals, especially the first goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Touch of class. When I watched the game, I was like, is this an African scoring?
Absolutely. And most importantly, it was immediate. Messi scores this side in the 3rd minute. In the 4th, Nigeria are that confident, they believe in themselves and say, we've got to get an equalizer. Well taken goal from Musa. Brilliant from them. They deserve to be in the round of 16. Big now. Performance will be needed from them because they face France. Yeah. But France is not far away from Africa. There are a couple of black guys. Let's go and play this Africa. Hey, come on, let's beat them up.
We're talking about France. They are in Group E. Who else joins them?
The most peaceful country in the world, I guess, Switzerland, because they beat up on Honduras 3-0. Or you can say Xherdan Shaqiri 3, Honduras 0, because Xherdan Shaqiri, the Bayern Munich midfielder, scored all the 3 goals. Right. I think that must be the 4th or 5th hat-trick or something like that from a player in the World Cup. So, so Switzerland joins France. Good performance from them. I think they also deserve to be where they are because they were battered by France, but beat up on Ecuador. Late winner from them, actually, to beat up on Ecuador. Probably that's what cost, actually, maybe Ecuador these points. Because if they had maybe gotten themselves a draw here, a draw against France and a win against Honduras, they would have been on 5 points. But unfortunately, the Swiss are the ones through. They'll be playing, I think now, Argentina. Yes.
That's going to be a tough game.
Just to know it's going to be a lot of defensive work. And because I have Otmar Isfield, who is very good at organizing his teams. The problem is they're coming up against, slightly you would think Argentina were much improved against Nigeria. Maybe because Nigeria allowed them to play. Messi, of course, is scoring goals. But there's so much work to be done by these Argentines. Because defensively, if you come well organized, they find it hard to break you down.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when we come to, I guess, this team broke our hearts 4 years ago. And now...
Simon said he can't watch football. I thought he was actually going to talk about the World Cup bomb. But when he said Gian failed to score and he got...
Yeah, and them failing to beat Ghana.
I know.
It's a
I know.
disappointment after disappointment.
Yet again, you will talk about Luis Suarez.
What do they have to do now to sidestep Portugal?
They need a huge performance and a miracle from somewhere else, because even if they win, there is no guarantee that actually they will qualify. In this group, first of all, Germany have 4 points, USA 4, Ghana 1, Portugal 1. Now, Germany have +4 because they beat up on the Portuguese 4-0. USA have +1, they beat up on the Ghanaians 2-1, and they drew with Portugal 2-all. Ghana themselves have got no goals. Actually, they are -1 because they lost to USA. Portugal are -4. Now, the Portuguese seem like they're out of it unless they can score 5 against the Ghanaians and hope that German beats up on the USA by more than 2 goals, or rather by more than a goal, you know, because that means they'll be +1. Actually, by more than a goal, by 2 goals to 0, then that means the Portuguese go through. But to be sincere to you, this German team you see currently was built, and probably, I can't say necessarily built, but the work of German today was started by a guy who's coaching the US on the other side, Jürgen Klinsmann. Last week, Pa Mertesacker came out and said his legacy will live on. He gave a chance to the likes of Pa Mertesacker, Mesut Ozil, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Tadeusz Kroos was just coming into the team. But most of his guys, Philipp Lahm and most of his guys were given a chance by Jürgen Klinsmann to join. Now, I sit down and I'm not saying there's going to be foul play. But I'm looking at this game as one where guys will sit down and say, why the hustle? If we draw, both of us are through. Let's just play whatever we can and we're going through. Clearly, I don't say anything beyond the drawing.
Or Klinsmann wants to prove something.
That could be something. But if Klinsmann, for example, won 1-0, still the Germans have got a huge, I think, for me, advantage. Because, as I've said, Ghana -1, Portugal -4. So the Ghanaians have to win by convincing margin.
So Ghana has to literally beat Portugal by 3 goals.
By maybe 3, and hope that one of, actually USA in most cases, because Ghana +4. Because if Ghana are going to qualify, then they have to win it by 5 to go past the USA, you know?
Which is impossible.
Which is quite a hard one. And I don't think there's anything like that proving that there's nothing really to prove. But also on the other hand, the Germans, of course, have something in mind. The group they're playing against, most likely, if they finish second, they play Belgium. I don't think they would want to play Belgium at that stage. They would rather play one of Algeria, Russia, or South Korea, who are in the other group. So I think the Germans also want to top, exactly. Yeah. But a draw helps them top, actually.
All right.
You talked about another African team that is in action tonight, Algeria. What are their chances?
Algeria, I think they have got a big chance. First of all, in that group, same thing, similar to almost the other one. Tops is Belgium.
Yeah.
They've won their 2 games, 6 points. Algeria come in second. They have 3 points. South Korea 1 and Russia 1. The Algerians play Russia. With a draw, then that means they're through. Because I just don't see. Okay, even if the South Koreans may be beat up on Belgium, I don't see them beating Belgium by more than 2 goals. Because Algerians beat up on
South Korea.
By 5-2 or 4-2, if I remember the fixture, 4-2. So that means they're +2. Actually, +1, because they lost to Belgium 2-1. So that means the Algerians, with a draw, they can qualify. And the way they've been organized defensively, you think they can pull off something. The Belgians had to win a little late because they had to come from a goal down. They've been a little convincing, more organized, because the Arab countries in Africa, I think, are more organized than any of the other ones. So Algeria should be good to go through. But again, it's an African country. You saw what Ivory Coast did, played some rubbish, and they're out. So
no, they're not as rubbish as
Cameroon. No, I think they are. I mean, no, because the thing is, at Cameroon, they showed us from the start
that they were too unserious.
That they were too unserious.
It was about the money.
And they were going out. Now, for the Ivorians, they gave us so much hope from the start. And look what they do against a Greek side that can barely play football. And
no,
you can't beat them up.
penalty was a bit unfair,
Greece did a very good job. Greece
exactly
can
on the
strike,
day,
it can shoot.
Yeah, on the day,
which we can't.
You see, on the day, Greece played well. That's the best performance at the World Cup. Why? Because the Ivorians for me were poor. First of all, which kind of team goes forward and leaves barely anyone at the back? Even you, even actually Mebo, probably you understand more football. Even Mebo knows once you go, you've got to leave a couple of guys behind to have some defensive cover. Every time the Ivorians went forward, even at 1-0 sometimes, they left bare. I mean, the defense was bare. They have a 4, I think they had a 4 here. 2, and they could not actually take a chance. Yaya Toure wasting it in there. Disappointed with them. So I think the Algerians, being Africans, hopefully can do something. And I'm believing the Algerians. I think they should be doing something. Given how they played against South Korea, the Russians have been a little disappointing. I'm sure they will open up today. Once today, maybe the Algerians could have a... This Russia we are talking about, they're capable of anything. Algeria have got to keep their concentration for...
Right. Yeah. Well, in about 45 minutes, reminder that we shall be going to the Imperial Royal Hotel for a debate with Ipsos and Power of Insights. We shall be bringing it live from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. So please do join us. Our team is there ready to make sure that they bring you that debate live. Now, away from the World Cup, we've had, we're in 2 days of